Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Today kita akan masuk on masih lagi chapter tertinggal pula one. Chapter 1 Introduction to Economics, but this one is lecture 3 which is Introduction to Macroeconomics. We shall proceed. Okay, what is macroeconomics? The study of aggregate behavior of entire economy that include GDP, NI, inflation, deflation, and employment, public finance, and blah blah blah. Okay, maybe all these nama-nama ni maybe quite foreign for you, maybe you tak pernah dengar, because mostly kalau you aware about economy, maybe you ada baca dalam economic sections of newspapers or news site portal, should be you akan aware lah on this. But if not, then perhaps you baru dengar lah. But selalu kata yang kita dengar unemployment, inflation, benda yang kita selalu dengar. Tapi tak apa, kita akan go one by one. What is national income, what is GDP. Tapi kat sini saya nak explain sikit lah. Inflation tu contohnya when the money ataupun kita panggil currency lah, ataupun money sendiri dah tak ada, dah hilang nilai, susut nilai. Okay, dulu-dulu like long time ago, perhaps you can buy nasi lemak for 50 cent. But current price for nasi lemak is around 2 ringgit. So 50 cent ringgit because dia dah hilang nilai because things get expensive. Jadi bila harga semakin naik, harga semakin naik dan tidak terkawal, government fail to control the price to make it stable. Jadi harga akan keep on increasing, keep on hiking up. That's when inflation happen. Normally inflation ni happen bila ekonomi tengah booming. Economic growth is very good, so everyone keep buying stuff. So when we keep on buying stuff, jadi harga barang pun akan makin naik. That's why government keep on buat campaign like before. I'm not sure whether you saw I'm not saying advertisement, but it's kind of advertisement campaign on the television that say belilah barang buatan Malaysia, something like that, just to reduce the inflation rate. Deflation ni terbalik daripada inflation, tapi harga barang tak turun takkan turun, but kita tidak mampu membeli. So masa itulah deflation, like right now lah. Produk-produk mostly pun what I saw in Twitter, in other social media, like people keep on talking about M40 dah reduce numbers, and sekarang M40 pun dah become B40 Jadi that's why deflation happen. And unemployment, okay, currently what happened in our country, and employment rate is very very high due to the pandemic. That is macroeconomics. So macroeconomics ni dia tengok on this stuff like a very big stuff benda yang besar, ekonomi dari segi yang besar, compared to the one yang I teach previously. Sebab sebelum ni, masa, if you still remember, during the lecture 1, I did mention about micro and macroeconomics. So micro tu looking into smaller units. So smaller units tu, if you see like demand and supply of product, benda yang kecil-kecil products benda kecil. We are not looking into like the whole thing, like demand and supply, demand on supply, labor in construction saja, macam very small project, okay, small, okay. But macroeconomic tengok unemployment, like total unemployment of a country. So this one macroeconomic looking into a big picture. This is the differences between micro and macro. Microeconomics is studies of individual income, and macroeconomics is studies of national income. So individual income ni maybe like household that you learned before, household, government, individu, firm, okay. So ini microeconomics. However, national income maksudnya pendapatan negara tu sendiri And then analyze demand for supply of labor. Okay, so demand supply labor mana? Okay, labor dekat firm ni. Okay, very small thing. However, this one like total employment in the economy, total employment of a country, and then deals with household and firms decision. So as we know that economy tu adalah berdasarkan decision. kan, because you have demand and supply, and then you are buying things, okay, because of demand, okay, you are making a decision, that kind of thing. Jadi this one only into a small units of decision, tapi for macroeconomic deals with aggregate decision for one nation punya decision and then studies individual prices, maybe you look at into price of one product. However, here studies of overall price level, which means that kalau you tengok, maksudnya macam mana you tahu inflation. So maksudnya bila harga barang, semua barang, mostly of the barang like totally in high demand, tengok the overall price level, then dia akan tahu itu adalah inflation. So studies of overall price level, and then analyze demand and supply of goods. Okay, demand and supply of one good, contohnya analyze aggregate demand and aggregate supply. So aggregate kat sini maksudnya overall overall demand and supply. Dia bukan tengok pada satu produk saja, dia tengok pada big picture on how the nation deal with this demand and supply. So what is the macroeconomic goal? We have 5 of it, which is full employment, price stability, economic growth, equilibrium in foreign sector, and lastly equitable distribution of income. So let's just look one by one. Full employment, what does it mean by full employment? The more fully resources are employed, the greater level of output of goods and services and higher standard of living. So sebenarnya full employment ni maksudnya apa? Sebab kita pun dah belajar pasal factors of production So factors of production tu termasuk labor. Okay, labor ni adalah factors of production because dia adalah input, something yang kita gunakan as a resources to produce something. Okay, kalau tak ada labor tak jalan. Okay, jadi if let's say all the labours, all the resources, maksudnya resources contohnya labor lah, are fully employed, jadi akan lebih tinggilah output yang dikeluarkan High unemployment causes poor quality, people become dissatisfied with the government, and this will lead to political upheaval, standard of living worsen. If let's say there is high unemployment, for example sekarang ni, kita nampaklah banyak yang tidak puas hati, especially those who macam orang-orang muda-muda ni kan, because mostly those yang just graduated and fresh graduate so just come up from university and want to, when the situation is like in the pandemic like this, most people are being dibuang kerja, okay, are being sacked macam tu. So bila dah dibuang kerja, orang yang baru pun, fresh graduate pun having a hard time finding job. Kebanyakan even being unemployed, being employed with the low salary macam tu Jadi kita tidak gembira, especially bila harga barang pun keep on increasing because of the supply is limited, susah nak dapat juga because of the pandemic and such. Bila keadaan macam ni, orang pun unhappy Unemployment in the economy means that existing factors of production are not used to produce goods and services, resulting ultimate inefficiency and wastage to the country. That's why kita nak full employment kalau boleh, because we are making use all the factors of production very well, very efficiently. Itu yang kita nak Price stability, a situation of no inflation in the economy. Okay, ini maksudnya inflation ni is a macroeconomic situation characterized by sustained and continuous increase in overall level of average of all prices. So ini yang saya cakap tadi, inflation, harga barang naik daripada average harga dia tu. Inflation can reduce the purchasing power of consumers. So that's why kita nak kurangkan inflation. Contohnya macam saya cakap tadi, bila economy booming, like everyone can spend, but those people yang who can spend perhaps berada dekat T20, orang-orang kaya yang ada duit. Okay, how about B40? Dia tak, if let's say the price keep on increasing, keep on hiking up, what happened to those people in B40 level? M40 ni maybe can survive, maybe cannot. Maybe dia akan turun to B40. That's what happened currently in our situation right now. That's what happened, that most M40 is in the stage of B40 also. It is process in which money steadily loses value and able to buy fewer and fewer goods and services, thus standard of living reduces. And then we look into economic growth, refer to an increase in full production output level of nation over time. A growing economy means that there will be more goods and services for people to consume. That's why kita nak economy to keep on growing. Economic growth can only be realized over the years. There are 4 phases of economic cycle, which are peak, recession, true and recovery. Later on kita akan tengok on these phases ni Increase in full production output level of nation over time. Kita nakkan that thing because akan ada lebih banyak goods and services for people to consume. That's why we need this economic growth. And then equilibrium in foreign sector. Every year, Malaysian firms and individuals undertake massive business and financial transaction with firms and individuals in other countries. A country will try to get an overall surplus balance of payment, more coming in the money coming out. A country that have high deficit have to borrow from abroad or attract a deposit from abroad. This result in paying high interest rate and increasing countries' debt. Kalau dekat Malaysia ni, I can give you company dalam construction lah, contohnya UEM. Okay, this is a quite big company You have like Sime Darby also, many others Sebenarnya yang buat projek dekat overseas. UEM ni dia ada buat projek highway dekat India, ataupun dia ada juga buat residential projects dekat UK, or dia pun ada juga buat commercial complex complex maksudnya shopping complex tu dekat China. Dia yang di-hire untuk menjadi contractor dekat that particular country. Okay, and then why kita nakkan this kind of thing? Because dia akan bring back the currency daripada overseas tu, dia being paid tu into Malaysia. So maksudnya kita tidak menjual currency, kita membawa balik currency diorang dah jual currency diorang kat negara kita. As in like that lah. Dia invest lagi dalam negara kita sebab dia bawa buat balik duit dekat negara kita daripada dia punya profit and all, dia bawa balik negara kita because of dia adalah Malaysian firm. So dia masuk balik negara kita. Sama juga macam orang Malaysia kerja di overseas. Okay, jadi dia akan bawa pulang, dia akan bagi dekat keluarga dia dekat sini, something like that. So money not being spent elsewhere. Okay, so kalau kat sini yang the second paragraph ni, it says that a country that have high deficit have to borrow from abroad or attract deposit from abroad. Country yang have high deficit have to borrow from abroad. Kita boleh pinjam pada bank dunia. Okay, kita boleh pinjam duit pada bank dunia. However, kita kena bayar high interest rate. That's why ini adalah masalah. Or attract deposit from abroad. Okay, macam ni, you pernah dengar bandar Sri Iskandar, Nusa Jaya. Okay, those dekat Johor sana, banyak investment from China yang invest dekat situ. So actually we see that there is, macam if let's say they invest di situ, there's like a growing economy, but the impact is those company yang invest dekat Johor tu, dia akan bring back all the money yang dia receive daripada investment dia back to China. Sebenarnya dari segi ekonomi is not really good lah. Okay, sebab dia adalah foreign company. Macam mana pun all the profits, all the investment yang dia dapat daripada dia develop that bandar in Johor tu, dia akan bawa balik ke negara dia. Itu government punya cerita. I cannot complain lah. But that is actually the situation. Equitable distribution of income to narrow down the gap between high income and lower income groups to ensure all people are equal in terms of standard of living. So this is the things that kita punya goal sekarang lah. Because sekarang kita kat Malaysia ada 3 peringkat, which is T20, M40, B40. So bila terlampau beza jurang dia terlampau besar, nanti kita akan jadi macam India. Okay, where there is like a kasta thingy. And then also like Indonesia. Because sekarang kita dah hampir macam Indonesia, and Indonesia keep on growing while us we keep on shrinking daripada diorang diorang growing kita shrinking our economy actually So kita tak nak this kind of big gap, because nanti ada orang yang miskin. Bila terlampau miskin, is it diorang happy? Diorang tak happy. And then akan start lah all the riots and such. And then kena juga bagi pertolongan, bantuan kat diorang. So bantuan ni semua sebenarnya is not really improving the economy in any way Jadi kita nak semua orang biar gap dia tak berapa besar lah. Okay. Methods to change the size of distribution of income are tax policy and subsidy. So kita dah tengok sebenarnya kan, you dah tahu what is tax policy and what is subsidies ni Tax policy ni contohnya, maybe we can implement higher tax rates, income tax to T20 punya level. Okay, those population in T20 mungkin kita boleh increase income tax dia. And then we have subsidies. So subsidies ni you pun dah tahu is a incentive from the government to encourage all the producers ataupun sellers untuk produce more. Subsidies ni akan diberi pada those people yang dekat lower level lah, mostly yang tidak berkemampuan. We have the components of macroeconomics. You can see kat sini kita ada household, and then we have firm. So ini household I tak tulis, but you dah nampak gambar rumah Whole, and then kat sini ada firms. And then we have government here. And the rest of the world. Household ni dia owns all factors of production. Dia owns factor of production ni, tahu apa? Ada 4 iaitu land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. Then household owns all these factors of production. Okay, and then they supply factors of productions to firms and also to the governments. Okay, dia akan provide service ataupun dia akan provide supplies. Okay, ini pun samalah begini. Dia supply factors of production, and then dia akan receive payments in terms of wages, interest and profit. Okay, sama juga lepas dia supply factors of production ni to firms, dia also akan receive payment lah mungkin dari segi wages. Kalau contohnya factors of production adalah labor so dia akan receive gaji lah. And then interest, mungkin dia ada sewakan something dia punya, maybe dia ada sewakan bangunan, building pada firms, and then dia akan dapat rent, interest and also, dan juga dia akan receive profit lah, keuntungan daripada dia punya business with the firms ataupun with the government. Household tu contohnya siapa-siapa lah. Okay, bukan semestinya rumah Ali, rumah Abu. Household tu like one house, like whoever inside that house owns the factors of production. Okay, firms ni is an organisation that buys the factors of production from household. Sebab household dah supply kat dia, jadi dia buy lah. Jadi dia lah yang buy the factors of production from household, and then produce and sells goods and services. Jadi contohnya firms ni maybe construction firms. Okay, so construction firms ni dia hired labor from this household and then dia produce a building. Okay, a building. Firms will sell their goods and services to household and the government. Okay, the building yang dia construct tu adalah residential building. Jadi dia jual pada household yang lain lah, bukan household yang sama. Okay, pada orang lain lah. Ataupun pada mungkin projek dia tu adalah projek untuk government. Mungkin dia buat sekolah, jadi dia jual pada government. Okay, dia adalah project government. And then earn revenue from the sales. Okay, jadi dia akan earn profit lah. Revenue tu apa? Tak tolak lagi cost Revenue tu adalah cost plus profit. Okay, jadi dia earn that thing Dia dibayar dengan cara tu daripada sales A firm will pay wages and rent and interest to household for services of the factors of production and also pay tax. Okay, jadi firms ni dia kan kena bayar pada wages, interest, rent, profit kepada household ni sebab dia dah pakai labor daripada household ni. Dia bayarlah gaji orang tu. And they also have to pay tax. For the government will collect tax from household and firms. So household have to pay tax, firms have to pay tax, so everyone have to pay tax. Government revenue will be spent on development and for operational purposes. Maksudnya untuk satu country tu untuk keep on growing, there must be duit lah, capital. So daripada tax tu lah yang dia dapat, dia akan distribute to all the sectors in the country Contohnya pertanian, services, you have so many sectors, so many industry that the government will spend the money on. The government also buys factor of production from household for public consumption. Okay, so macam tadilah, government pun boleh beli benda daripada household Contohnya that household own pusat yang internet satu Malaysia ke? Is it? I cannot remember nama dia. Internet satu Malaysia ke? Yang all the computers there being bought from household contohnya. And then rest of the world, okay, you nampak ada bumi kat situ, refers to foreign sector which is involved in import and export of goods and services. For example, contohnya Malaysian will spend money to buy imported goods from foreign countries. People in foreign countries will in return purchase good produce in Malaysia that are sold to them. So ada import and export. Kalau you beli barang dari Shopee, barang tu daripada China, so itu adalah barang import. Ataupun you beli barang daripada US, daripada guna Amazon, okay, so you import lah, beli barang import. Ataupun you jual barang di eBay, okay, jadi you jual dekat anywhere in the world. Aggregate demand and aggregate supply, because sebelum ni you dah nampak beza antara micro and macro kan, because macro is demand and supply of one product, of a product, contohnya of products or a goods. So what does it mean with aggregate demand? So aggregate demand maksudnya total quantity of output demanded at alternative price levels in given period of time. So total quantity output ni bukannya macam you tengok sugar, kan, you tak tengok output satu produk. Total quantity output tu untuk the whole product produced in a nation at alternative price level in given period of, contohnya 1 tahun. How actually this quantity of output demanded We have aggregate supply, total quantity of output supply at alternative price level in given period of time. Jadi quantity output yang being supplied, okay, in a nation. Okay, bukannya you tengok untuk one goods, untuk satu produk, untuk dua produk, untuk tiga, bukan. The whole thing for one nation. We have national income. So national income means flow of goods of services in nation over a certain period of time. Okay, so flow of goods and services maksudnya you produce ke, you supply ke, demanded ke, okay, yang being demand ke, pergerakan tu untuk satu nation over a certain period of time, untuk 1 tahun. Jadi konsep of national income ni, so maksudnya national income ni dia being calculate macam mana, apa yang include dalam national income, macam mana kita tahu national income kita berapa. Okay, dengan tengok pada gross domestic product, GDP, GNP, market price and factor cost, NNP and also PI. Okay, jadi there is 5 things here included in national income. Okay, we're going to look one by one. The total money value of all final goods and services produced within a country in a given time period. Jadi untuk satu jangka masa, contohnya untuk setahun lah. So total money value, sebenarnya berapa sebenarnya harga itu of all final goods and services yang dia produce di Malaysia. However, GDP ni exclude goods and services produced by Malaysian citizen working overseas. So macam tadi UEM ada buat bangunan dekat overseas and such. Dia bekerja di sana during that time. Jadi it will not be included in GDP. And also intermediate goods. So intermediate goods ni maksudnya apa? Barang yang digunakan untuk menghasilkan sesuatu benda lain. You need brick. Okay, so brick ni ada kilang brick. So brick ni dah is a thing kan? Is a product. Okay, brick. However, brick ni akan menghasilkan bangunan. So brick ni adalah intermediate goods. Dia bukan final goods Dia adalah intermediate goods. Jadi bricks ni will be excluded from GDP because bricks ni akan digunakan untuk produce a building. Ataupun kalau tak berkaitan dengan construction, for example we have a tire. Okay, tayar kereta tu. So tire tu will be assembled for a car. Tayar ni takkan include dalam calculation of GDP and GDP also include the output produced by foreign workers in Malaysia such as Indonesian or Nepalese. Kalau output tu produced by foreign workers yang kerja kat Malaysia, contohnya dia bekerja kat kilang, dia produce plastik punya products. Okay, jadi dia also include dalam calculation of GDP although workers dia adalah from foreign country Bangladesh like that. This is the current GDP of Malaysia in the second quarter of 2021. The statistic is provided by Department of Statistics Malaysia. It shows that around 16.1% increase kalau you compare dengan 2020 because masa 2020 ni our economy definitely declined because of the pandemic and it seems like daripada first quarter of 2021 ekonomi kita semakin baik and sampai bulan 4 sampai bulan 5. However, sampai bulan 6 dia drop balik sebab kita lockdown balik Actually quarter ni kalau you nak lebih faham what does it mean. So kalau quarter, kalau kita kata first quarter tu meaning bulan 1 sampai bulan 3. Second quarter tu daripada bulan 4 sampai bulan 6. Okay, third quarter daripada bulan 7 sampai 9 and fourth quarter daripada bulan 10 sampai 12. So every 3 months. Right, so yang naik ni it shows that rebounded 16.1%, maksudnya positif, ekonomi kita improving kalau kita compare daripada fourth quarter of 2020. Maksudnya pada hujung tahun lepas kita compare sampai pertengahan tahun 2021 kita punya ekonomi semakin baik sebanyak 16.1% compared to last year, end of last year. And now we look at the production. If you look at production kita masih lagi the first is services, second manufacturing, third agriculture, fourth mining quarrying and fifth is construction. If you look at here dia ada share. So share ni maksudnya share daripada total GDP yang contribute to the economy of Malaysia. The highest is services. So manufacturing number 2, agriculture number 3, mining quarrying number 4 and construction number 5. Kalau tengok number 13.4% ni, it means that masa second quarter, maksudnya daripada bulan 4 sampai bulan 6 of 2021, the GDP increase as much as 13.4% compared to the last quarter. Maksudnya compare daripada bulan 1 ke bulan 3 tu, GDP kita naik sebanyak 13.4%. And yang number negative 2.3 ni is actually the last quarter lah. Maksudnya ini daripada quarter 1, ini adalah daripada quarter 2. So daripada quarter 1 ni negative 2.3 if compared to the fourth quarter of 2020. First quarter of 2021 sebab this one data yang paling latest sampai bulan 6 aja yang saya ada yang dikeluarkan oleh DOSM Department of Statistics of Malaysia tu. If we focus in construction sector, kalau compare dengan the first quarter daripada bulan 1 sampai bulan 3 tahun 2021, second quarter ni maksudnya daripada bulan 4 sampai bulan 6, the GDP increase as much as 40.3% yang being contribute by the construction. Okay, tapi share dia dalam total GDP tu rendah lah, only 3.7%. And for expenditure, all components of expenditure registered positive growth in the second quarter of 2021. Maksudnya daripada bulan 4 sampai bulan 6 tu, anchored by private final consumption expenditure and gross fixed capital formation. So private final consumption expenditure ni as in private lah, company private yang buat yang build something untuk consumption. So kalau gross fixed capital formation ni is actually investment on fixed assets. Contohnya structure and machinery and equipment. Jadi fixed asset maksudnya pembelian dari segi fix lah, maksudnya dari segi machinery, dari segi equipment dia adalah capital. Okay, tapi capital dari segi machinery. Okay, jadi dia naik juga for this expenditure and actually semua naik. Okay, termasuk dengan government final consumption expenditure, exports and imports. GNP, which is gross national product. So GNP ni ada perbezaan sikit daripada GDP. Okay. Total market value of all final goods and services produced by the resident of country during given period of time. So apa beza dia dekat sini? Okay. Dan tadi total money value maksudnya cost lah. Ini total market value, harga pasaran. All goods and service produced by resident. So maksudnya resident, those people who are actually citizen of Malaysia during given period of time. Contohnya 1 year like that. And then exclude the output produced by foreign workers in Malaysia. Benda-benda yang diproduce oleh foreign workers tidak akan include dalam GNP, and also intermediate goods pun tak masuk lah. And then include total amount of income earned by national of the country regardless where they are. So if let's say they are in US, they are involved in projects over there, or they are working somewhere in US, dia bekerja tapi dia adalah citizen of Malaysia, dia akan di-include dalam calculation of GNP. And then we look at market price and factor cost. For market price, current price the market through the forces of demand and supply. So harga barang yang dekat kedai-kedai tu, macam tu lah. So itu adalah market price. Market price includes indirect taxes and excludes subsidies given to producers. Jadi dia termasuk dengan tax. So kalau apa yang dijual dekat kedai tu dah ada tax, maksudnya dah ada sales and service tax. Jadi dia dikira sekali. And also exclude subsidies given to producer. Apa yang tertulis dekat berapa yang you kena bayar tu, okay, itulah harga market price. And market price does not reflect the real price sebab dia masuk dalam direct tax. So kalau factor cost ni pula, so factor cost ni tak termasuk indirect tax, tak termasuk those sales and service tax, excise duties, import and export tax, benda-benda tu semua jadi tak termasuk. So factor cost ni adalah real price yang earned by producers or sellers. So maksudnya real price ni termasuk subsidi tapi tidak termasuk tax. Jadi dia ada tolak dan tambah di situ. We look at net national product, NNP. So the definition is the market value of the net output of final goods and services produced by nation during a year. GNP, gross national product, minus the value of capital consumption or depreciation during the year. So contohnya in production process, some part of capital equipment will be obsolete. In order to replace, some portion of G&P will be kept aside and cannot be used for consumption or investment. Jadi sebab ada benda-benda contohnya mungkin untuk maintenance juga, capital ni tak dapat digunakan untuk consumption ataupun investment sebab kita kena contohnya kena replace ataupun kena buat maintenance pada kita punya equipment, capital equipment kita. Contohnya macam komputer, okay, obsolete. Jadi kita perlu replace dia. Some of the money yang kita receive tu, maksudnya output daripada final goods and services tu kan sebab kita keluarkan barang. Contohnya kita menghasilkan, kita produce barang So Malaysian we produce barang. But untuk produce barang tu we need equipment. So we need equipment, we need machineries. Okay. So for machineries, these machineries will be obsolete. Or these machineries need some repairs. So bila we need all these things, so maksudnya keuntungan maksudnya daripada apa yang kita receive daripada kita punya production tu, okay, kita receive tu kita tak dapat guna untuk consumption ataupun investment sebab we need that funding untuk mereplace ataupun repair, buat maintenance or whatsoever to our equipment. We have personal income. Okay, personal income ni yang paling last So the definition is the income that is actually received by the individuals and household in an economy in a year. Okay, jadi income yang kita dapat lah. However, disposable personal income, individuals and household will use certain portion of their personal income to make payments to government in terms of direct tax, maksudnya income tax lah. So disposable personal income is obtained by deducting income tax from personal income. Jadi personal income ni contohnya saya dapat gaji, tapi disposable personal income saya dah bayar tax. So itu adalah gaji saya without tax. That will be all for today. Thank you so much everyone. Have a nice day.